Hey guys, welcome back to the Duos Disciples podcast. My name is Brody.
My name is Levi.
And we are on episode number 2 for the podcast.
Yes,
and
sir.
today we're going to be talking about, which you kind of already know the topic, Halloween. Yes, this is going to be a fun one. And what you guys maybe don't know is me and Levi's is kind of fun. We're bouncing back and forth each week. I pick the topic, Levi picks a topic, and then we have a podcast about it. We're going to do our research. We've already done some stuff, and it's going to be really good because we really want to talk about this topic. So let's jump right into it.
You want to start or?
I'm ready. Okay, let me pull out my iPad here because I've taken a ton of notes, okay? The topic is Halloween something a Christian should celebrate? That's a very deep question. Some people might have thought there's no problem with Halloween. Maybe they think it's okay. Some people think it's totally wrong. We're going to go over that right now. So in my notes, I have a couple things that I would like to cover with Levi. And again, he has done research, I've done research, but we agreed on some topics we wanted to hit. And there's 3 main ones that I feel like every Christian should ask. What is the history of Halloween? What even is it? We've all just been probably celebrating it. We've been indoctrinated into whatever this holiday is. But what even is it? Where did it come from? How did it happen? How did it come to an existence? Secondly, is it a good thing to celebrate? Or is it a bad thing? And the last thing is, with the final thoughts that we'll come up with, what do we do now with the information that we've learned? So let's get right into it. What do you think, Levi? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So we wanted to start with history of Halloween.
I think we should start with first if you think it's wrong or not.
Opinions.
Yeah.
No, because okay.
Off of what you before even like
True.
the research.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Just keep making
good
sure
or,
it's
good or bad? Yeah.
Okay.
Without any research.
This is good. Yeah, without research. This is
Yeah.
before research. This is actually a great segue. I think that's a great idea, Levi.
All
Before, as most people all kind of probably feel, before I started looking into the truth of Halloween, I didn't think it was bad. I celebrated it. There was family Halloween parties I went to, dressed up, different characters. I thought it was fun. Nothing wrong with it. And I went out when I was younger. I got Halloween, man. I got the best candy bars. Oh, man, they were good. But that was all before I started looking into the truth. So when I was younger, so 2 different answers. When I was younger, I didn't think it was wrong at all because I didn't know what I was doing. And now, after reading the good old basic information before leaving Earth, the big Bible, baby, that has taught me some stuff. So now I don't think it is okay. What do you think, Levi?
So you thought it was okay, now you don't think it's okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
before research.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say same thing when I was younger. I don't think anybody thinks it's bad when they're younger because they're just trick or treating. But I'd probably say I don't think the way people celebrate it, I don't think it's right. Like some people celebrate it terribly, and some people celebrate it like just family gathering. So I don't think it's right either. Just because like the decorations and stuff, I feel like you can celebrate it, but the way you celebrate it depends on what you do. So if you don't celebrate it with like, I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I can't say that actually, right? Before research, like if you don't celebrate it with all these demonic decorations, I think it's okay. But if you're just celebrating it as like a little family with costume dress ups and all that, I don't think it's bad.
I think that's a good thing we can actually go over at the end too. What you just brought up.
Yeah.
If after we all go over all this information, once we're done with it, let's talk about what things we can still celebrate and do to celebrate that holiday, and what things we should definitely not do.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Good stuff, Levi. I like that. That's a good idea. Okay, so now the history of Halloween. Now, Levi, I wanted to ask you this, since again we're taking turns, topic wise and like hosting wise of the topic. Since I'm hosting this one, I wanted to ask you what history you maybe have found about Halloween.
So, what I researched so far, I have it in my notes on my phone right here. I researched pretty much the meaning of Halloween, And then obviously I searched it in the Bible. I was like, is there anything in the Bible that talks about Halloween? And it said no. But not Halloween, but like,
Yeah.
I don't think All Saints Day either, because that's also a thing. All Saints Day, I learned, I didn't even know it was a thing until I talked to Grandma about Halloween. She's like, yeah, but it's not wrong because All Saints Day. But I figured out that that comes after Halloween. So I figured out the kind of the meaning of Halloween, All Saints Day. I found something by just looking up what a word meant that I was just like, what the, which I'll talk about whenever we get to that.
Okay.
But I found something about that, and then I also found a couple verses talking about, not exactly about Halloween stating it, but like kind of around, interpretations with
Yeah.
Halloween. But
From the Bible
yeah.
or from the
Well, Bible verses about
Yeah.
that, but
Ooh.
it doesn't state Halloween, but I mean it's kind of clear
Okay.
stuff. So what about you?
Yeah, dang. I'm so excited to get into it. You're already pulling the Bible verses and relating to the subjects of the world. Man, this is
Well, I
going to
haven't
be
sent
good.
them yet, but yeah,
I know you haven't, but
some.
I
have
bet you
some
you're going to
here.
pull stuff I haven't even pulled. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I found, well, because I'm the host of this specific topic of the podcast, number 2, I have a lot of research. Oh, yeah. I'm ready. When Levi, by the way, what you guys don't know, Levi was at work and then he went to college. He was going to his classes. I was grinding some research. We even had to delay by like 20 minutes the start of this podcast because I was still writing more notes down that I wanted to talk about. And I was like, give me a second. It was like, it's going to be fun. It's really good. We're saving souls, and it's not us that's doing that bidding. It's Jesus Christ of Nazareth, baby, because he's the truth, the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes, sir.
Woo! I'm ready. Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
So I want to go deep because I like deep into the history of the research that we did. Now, I don't know if you went this far, but I heard you say something. You talked about All Saints Eve or All Saints Day, which is what Levi was probably going to talk about. That's November 1st. It's the day right after Halloween. So the way the name Halloween even came into play was from Hallows Eve. And it's basically the day, it's imagine like Christmas and Christmas Eve. So Christmas has the day before and they call it Christmas Eve. It's the same thing with All Saints Day. It's All Saints Day and then Hallows, which again, you can look up that word. There's an awesome meaning to that. Hallows Eve is October 31st, which is the eve before All Saints Day. So it's like the preparation of the celebration. But I went deeper past that and I said, wait a second, I'm curious. Does Hallows Eve, October 31st, which is what Halloween, the word came from, was that the original thing that started it all? And the answer to that is no. So that was actually, which is still good that Christianity tried to do this, right? I can't remember who the Pope was at the time that did this, but the history of it was he made this pagan practice, which is Halloween, which again we're going into, he made that a dedicated day to honoring the saints. And the reason why he did that is when I started doing this research, I understood why they tried to cover up the pagan practice, which is really evil and demonic, for this thing called All Saints Day, which to me, there's only one person we should be honoring and glorifying, and that's Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think, before I go any further, I don't think that we should even be doing again, the saints, good for them. I mean, I know there's going to be some awesome conversations in heaven, right? That we get to have with some saints. But I guarantee you, and this is like without a hesitation, without a doubt, there's not one saint in heaven that's going to say, you should have honored me more. No. I guarantee you it's going to be, why were you honoring me and not Jesus Christ of Nazareth? You could have spread the word of God more. So anyways, what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Wait, you said the Pope. You talk about the Pope.
I can't remember the Pope's name that did this, but it was like, I don't know if he had. Yeah.
So they made Hallows Eve before All Saints Day.
No, they made it at the same time. So it's not All Hallows Eve. Maybe it is All Hallows Eve, but what I found is it's Hallows Eve, which is what turned into the word Halloween. But Hallows Eve is the eve before All Saints Day. It's still part of the same thing.
Yeah. So I read that people celebrate All Saints Day for, not only like some people do it to remember the saints and stuff, but I also read that whenever you believe in God, you're called a saint or whatever. So when it's All Saints Day after Halloween, I read that all these saints, all believers of God, get together and have like a feast, and just it's like it's just like a whole big group of saints, like followers of God, just coming together for like dinner. So I guess like a Thanksgiving after Halloween.
Oh, it's like a
So
Thanksgiving
I
for Christians.
I didn't really get, but
Okay.
yeah, it says this is also either you remembrance of saints, or all these saints get together and just have a feast after. It's like I don't know where it is in my notes, but that's what I saw. I'll find it really quick in my notes, but
You're good. Okay, that's fine. While you look that up, I actually wanted to go over this because I have this pulled up already. So what I was talking about originally to everybody was past All Saints Day, or whatever it is, on November 1st. I looked even past that. So there's actually an ancient pagan festival that all of this crap from the 5th, it started, I looked it up, I couldn't find the exact date, but it was in between it's sometime in between the 5th and 9th century CE, right?
yeah.
So this pagan practice of this festival was called, it had a title and everything. It was called Samhain, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled Samhain.
I read about that.
And this festival will be celebrated around or on October 31st, right? And it was, and I wrote here because I was taking notes on this. It was the marking of the end of the harvest season, right? So it was this practice, this festival they did yearly, this pagan practice. This was all before the All Saints Day thing, because again, the All Saints Day was trying to cover up this demonic pagan practice, and this is some interesting stuff. So I wanted to go. Okay, actually, before I go into this, because this is really deep stuff that you're going to be like, whoa, like what every single thing we do during Halloween, what we used to do when kids, and I just don't do it anymore. Before I go into this, I'm going to see if you. Okay, so what was the thing you were looking up? Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure of that first.
It says all believers are saints. The Bible teaches that all Christians are considered saints or holy ones through faith in Christ. Therefore, the concept of All Saints Day honors all who believe, not just those officially canonized. So I mean that's just a little. It said all saints is either remembrance of saints, or all saints, like all believers of Christ get together, and I guess just have a feast. So I think that's pretty cool, but also I don't know for sure if there's like two meanings of it, so I don't know what's like the right meaning, or if it's just like whatever you want to do, remembrance or dinner with all believers of Christ. So I don't know, but
yeah,
that's what I saw. So I mean, that's my.
Well, no, that's the cool thing about All Saints Day, even that celebration, is we know that at least it's trying to dedicate that time to Jesus Christ. But that holiday, for me, with looking at that, I'm also like, it looks a little bit like it's somewhere in that it's idolizing somebody that is not Jesus. Like, even if it's ourselves, you know what I mean? Because when it's called, literally the title is All Saints Day. It's like, the saints are great. There's no doubt about that. But why are we taking the glory and honor and focus away from Jesus Christ?
But I don't think anybody's idolizing, I feel like idolizing, is whenever you put someone above Jesus Christ, and if you get together with all these saints and have a feast, I don't think you're really idolizing anybody above Jesus. So, but I mean, it's an interpretation for you, I guess, if you think.
Well, no, that's just actually for me. That's just an idea.
Oh,
like
okay.
when I'm just thinking about it, that's what I was just talking about my thoughts out loud. That is like when you just think of like an idol. I'm not I'm just talking about if the day's dedicated to saints. For me, I'm just like thinking, well, wait a second. Every day should be dedicated to Jesus Christ. So for me, when I'm saying there's a day dedicated not to Jesus and it's to the saints, it's not that like saints are bad, but for me, I'm just thinking out loud like that. Yeah. That just seems like it's not going the honor isn't going to Jesus, and he deserves all of it,
Yeah. And what were you gonna go into, just in case I have to read this before?
Candy.
Okay, yeah, I'll read this.
Yeah. Okay.
So I also searched up the meaning behind Halloween, because I think everyone should know. Because I didn't really know either until I researched it. It says the name Halloween is a contraction of All Hallows Eve. You said that, All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
The celebration also incorporated traditions from the ancient Celtic festival of, like you said, Samhain.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. We're probably pronouncing it wrong.
Which took place in the same dates and involved bonfires and costumes to ward off spirits. Over time, it says, over time, these religions and pagan traditions merged and were secularized, which is the word I looked up, which I I'll get into that in a second. It's involving into modern holiday with activities like trick-or-treating and carving jack-o'-lanterns. And I looked up what secularized mean, and it says dissociates or separates from religious or spiritual concerns. So, like, they took, like, All Hallows Eve, and then they secularized it into something that wasn't even close to religion or anything. So they took it and moved it away from religion and made it their own, like, little,
it talks about taking your, like, almost like focus away from religion or like.
That's not in the Bible, by the way. It's just that was on
That's
Google.
what that word means.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But.
Well, I mean, that's educational in itself because some people don't even know what secular means. They know it's something probably bad, but they don't know what. So that's great.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I didn't know, and then I saw that, I was like, geez. And it also says secularized, to make secular separate from religious or spiritual connection or influences, make worldly or unspiritual, imbue with secularism. So, that's crazy, bro. But yeah, I read that.
I'm so glad you know what that word means too now, because I learned that a year ago. But because I didn't know what the word meant either, and I looked that up. But it's
freaking
my bad on not telling you what that meant. I know I kind of bug you sometimes on these nice definitions I look up, but I'm surprised I didn't tell you what that one meant.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but
no, that's cool. I'm so glad you know that now.
Yeah, let's hear what you think about candy.
Okay, so we're gonna go into I love the segue. We're gonna go into, which, by the way, if you guys heard that, my fault. I'm got a little sparkling water here. We got to crack it open when Levi was talking about secularism, because man, when he learns that, hey, we're about to get right into it. Okay, so everyone knows, if you are old enough to even know Halloween itself, you go out and trick or treat. You go out, you get some candy, you dress up, you maybe carve some pumpkins, maybe you do, I don't know, maybe go to the pumpkin patch, I don't know. What I do know is those things, I did a lot of those when I was younger. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to look up all the things you do and see if there's a pagan practice related to that. Where did that come from? I found out where it's at. And let's take a moment to pause for the viewer, Levi. If you guys still want to celebrate Halloween and not get all of the truth exposed to you, you can back out now, because we're about to tell you all of where this came from, and you're going to find out a lot of the stuff that we do is not honoring God. So if you want to not know the truth, now's your time. But I want to tell you the truth. So me and Levi are here. That's what we're here for. So here's what it is. I found out the candy was not the original thing it came from, is what I found out. So I found all these notes, or I found all this stuff and I took notes on it. So candy itself is our version, the modern day version of trick or treat. But the word trick or treat, I was like, that's kind of weird. Well, is that just a little saying? No. So trick or treat actually came from that same pagan festival. They would literally put out for, like what you already mentioned earlier, the spirits, right? Because you were like, oh, they were letting bonfires. I'm so glad I don't even have to talk about that now. The bonfire thing is, we'll touch on that in a second. But the spirit thing you talk about, like with the spirits and they lit the bonfires or whatever, there's a meaning to that too that I found. I'm so glad you found the same research I did. So the candy itself is our modern day version. The trick or treat is the modern day version of food and treats. Okay? So they put food and treats that outside. They didn't give them to anybody. What they did this for, they made food and treats, which some of the times it was like nuts and berries and stuff like that, because again, it was so long ago, but they did this during the festival in order to ward off evil spirits and to put the current roaming spirits at ease. Now, this has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. So we already know it's pagan immediately. This practice, so literally giving out candy, if you're participating in that, you're literally doing a pagan practice. You're practicing in paganism right now.
I mean,
Wait,
so it said they gave out candy to ward off spirits.
They didn't even give them to people. They just set them outside their house, outside their homes, to one, ward off spirits, and two, because again, this is what I was going to touch on next, it was related to their ancestors. So they believed that because it was the end of the harvest, because that's why it's called the Harvest Festival or whatever, and it was called what we were, I don't know how to say it, the Samhain or whatever, however you say it. That festival, they thought that it was there was a veil. Now, we talk about the veil all the time. I mean, you might have already read it in the Bible where there's this veil that's get lifted about the truth, but they talk about a veil as in like the spiritual veil, where it was so thin during this festival, which was October 31st, that they could connect and contact their ancestors. And so that's why they left them out it was either the treats themselves would ward off evil spirits because it wasn't for them, and I don't know exactly all that they would make, but that's where the trick or treat came from, right? Because the trick was the evil spirits were warded off. They didn't understand why there was food outside, right? That was the trick. And the treats, the same thing that they put out there, the treats were for their relatives, their ancestors that they put out.
Like spirits?
They're spirits, yeah. That they thought that they could connect with, which, by the way, they're at rest, by the way. They're waiting for Jesus Christ to return again, okay? Yeah. But at the time, they thought, hey, we can contact, it's like necromancy. They're literally contacting the dead. That's demonic, right?
Yeah. But
they might not have known that, though. They were just taking a traditional practice that they were going into.
Do you think everybody that, I always try to go back to like nowadays and stuff, but you think everybody that, sits at the door with a bucket of candy and waits for little kids to come around, or, sets the bucket out for kids, which is usually not what happens because people steal them, but you think that they're doing that to, invite spirits in, or are they just waiting for little kids to come and grab some candy? Because I feel like
that's a really good question. I don't think so. If people are not, like you said, if they're not educated on this, that's why we're doing this anyways, to educate people as well, because we're learning too, and we're just kind of sharing what we have found, and that will strengthen hopefully the Christian faith. But no, so like there's a verse in the Bible, and I can't remember the exact section, but it talks about the ones like when you're during the judgment day, you'll be judged for what if you don't know something's bad and you're doing it, then you really can't, in a way, you can't really get judged for that, right?
Yeah.
But if you know something's bad and then you do it, there's actually a verse about that, and it says, if you know what you ought not to do and you do it anyways, to him it is sin. So it's like, if you do know and then you're participating in it, well then, yeah, you're partaking in a pagan, false god, religious festival. Now, the thing is why I told people, the viewers, if you're listening or watching, you have to understand this now. With truth comes a very hard responsibility where once you learn it, now you're obligated to follow what the truth is, which again, this is why you have to be a very good teacher. And there's a lot of false prophets in the world because they'll teach you one thing and sometimes they'll teach you the wrong thing. But whenever, like what we're doing right now, when we're speaking of truth, it's great because we'll know it. But like the people who listen or watch, they're going to go, uh-oh. And now there's a conviction of the Holy Spirit that'll probably let them know every year Halloween comes around. Ooh, should I celebrate it? It's a tradition though. Ooh, should I celebrate it? And it's going to keep doing this because now they watch the podcast or listen to the podcast, and now they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
now I have an obligation.
Yeah, but because like you said, it was the Seham or whatever, that little parade.
Yeah, we don't know what that word is. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't pronounce it, but that there was a little parade, and then that's when they set out the candy and stuff, right? They set the candy out.
Oh, it was a whole festival. It wasn't even a parade. Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. Yeah.
And that tradition, came around to nowadays, and people call it Halloween and bring their little kids out and stuff. But I feel like if you're like a parent with like a bucket of candy waiting for like little kids to come around, and you just want to make them happy and give them some candy, I don't feel like that's inviting spirits in, because you're not. I don't know, because like.
Oh no, you're not inviting spirits in. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not saying they're inviting spirits into their house, but I'm saying it has nothing to do with inviting spirits in. You're just partaking in a pagan practice. So you're taking part in a false god practice. That's all I'm saying. The spirit thing is like those spirits. This festival, what it said is the spirits would linger and roam around these like houses. They would never go in that. It never said anything about them going in their houses.
No, I never said that. Just inviting them to
your porch or whatever, like your home outside to pick up.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's. I feel like if you're a parent, waiting for kids, like I said, are you really, inviting spirits in? Because like you're not. That was like, didn't they do that to a festival? Whenever you trick or treat, it's not like a festival really. It's just kids going around to houses and ding donging and asking for candy. Like,
think about it. What did they say whenever somebody opens the door?
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
But that's like, did it say that in the? Did it say once?
That's where the original trick or treat came from.
Yeah, but what is it? What happens when they say
the trick was for the evil spirits. The trick was they didn't understand, and it shows it in all this research I did. So the trick was for the evil spirits. That's why it warded them off. They're like, why is there freaking food out here? Is according to the festival. That's why they did that. They tricked the evil spirits, so it warded off them. But the spirits that they knew would understand that was a gift for them. That was the treat for them.
So like the little kids.
So when they say trick or treat, so the kids have no idea what they're saying. They're just going to.
So when they say
yeah.
that, they invite spirits.
No, okay. So when they're participating in that, right,
Yeah.
this event, the parents who are not educating themselves so that they can educate and raise their children of what this is, which they should not have them participate anymore. And I know, listen, the world's going to hate
No, it's not even about
the
that.
believer of Christ because
It's
they're going to
not
find
even-
the truth
Yeah,
behind
it's not
it.
even about that. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to like, because like obviously, you know, I want to let people know what's right and stuff too.
Yeah.
And you did research, and I did a little bit of research, not about trick or treating, but
Mhm.
I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like if you're a parent and you're giving candy to kids, I don't think you're trying to like invite spirits in. Like I don't think anybody's doing that.
Okay, you're right. So they're not intentionally doing it.
Yeah, but some people are gonna see this and still.
And so this goes back to your question where you're like, what if they don't know, right? And it's not that God's not going to judge them on what they know if they're like just participating in it. But if they claim to be a Christian and they read the Bible, because if you're a Christian, if you say you believe in Jesus Christ, you got to believe in what the Bible says.
Yeah.
In the Bible, I don't know if you've read this before because I know you said you've been going through a couple of the books. There's a part in Scripture, and I always tell this to people all the time. Okay. Oh man. Oh, hopefully I can get the Holy Spirit to help me because I just freaking it went out of my brain. Oh no. What were we talking about?
I was just saying, like, you know, parents and like giving out candy. I feel like if I'm a parent, you know, I'm obviously knowing now about what I've researched about decoration stuff. I'm not gonna hang certain decorations in my house, but I feel like if a kid comes to my door and, you know, knocks on it, asks for some candy, I'm gonna give him candy, not just, you know, because he says trick or treat. And I feel like a lot of people watching this are gonna have their own interpretations of. Just like I do with tattoos, which we're not going to get into yet, but you think one thing, and then I hear something, I think, oh, well, you know, I think this, you think that. It's different interpretations, and that's really what a lot of people do with the Bible is interpret it in different ways. And so, like, when I hear that, I agree with you, like, probably was the thing. People set candy out to invite spirits and also get evil spirits out.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're a parent nowadays, and you know that, you're not going to that festival and doing that thing to invite spirits in and like to ward them out or whatever word you said. You have candy in your house, some pieces of candy, and kids come around, you give them candy, and then that's it. Like I don't think now you're really.
So the problem is you're still partaking in a pagan practice. So that's what it was. Oh, thank you. I don't know why that. Okay, so there's a Bible verse. I'm so bad at like the direct, like just sniping the exact.
Yeah.
Like quote this verse, but I know it's a verse. So it talks about the traditions of men. Okay. And that's one of the things God hates. And when it talks about the things that God hates, it's like very specific. It talks about God hating the traditions of men. And when you look that up and you're like, whoa, the traditions of men are not made by God, but men. And when you start looking at those things, you'll start understanding, because in that section, and again, I can't remember the entire section. I wish I could just get the whole section. But in this section, it goes over. It won't literally just say Halloween or whatever, right?
Yeah, do you know the exact verse or?
No, I wish I could look it up. Actually, I could probably type in. Let's look it up right now. I'll look it up. I got you right here. So what's your point on that though? Why I look this up?
Why you look it up?
Yeah. Why you look it up? Like, what do you think?
Oh, wow. I thought you said why.
Sorry, I think I did. You're good.
So I just think what I researched was, you know, decorations and stuff and Halloween and stuff. And I still have to ask you some questions if you think it's wrong and stuff. But
oh yeah, you're good.
You told me, you know, the hocus pocus sign. I had that in my room.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to tell you, I want to show you guys something. Which
okay. Now you look it up. I already have my thing pulled up. So when you look that up, or do you already have it pulled up?
It's right here.
Oh yeah, say it then.
So when Brody came in my room, I decorate my room a little bit with, you know, Halloween decorations and stuff, but there's like a hocus pocus sign next to my, like on my window. And I was like, I usually read my Bible at night. And I just thought about this when I was researching. It says hocus pocus is an illusion or a meaningless distraction that tricks you in some way. And I was like, okay. And then I looked it up again. Uncountable noun. If you describe something as hocus pocus, you disapprove of it because you think it's false and intended to trick or deceive people. So that's what it means.
Dang.
And so when I went back to like when it was next to my, you know, my bed where I read my Bible every day, I might have not been saying hocus pocus, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like that having that next to me when I was reading my Bible, and it says, you disapprove of it because you think it's false and intended to trick or deceive people. And that's right next to me while reading my Bible. And my Bible's open, and there's this, word that magicians say, which magic is evil. Which magicians are saying like hocus pocus or whatever, and that's the meaning of it, is deceive people. When the Bible's right next to me, it's just, then it stood out at me. I didn't even know that whenever I took it down. Brady just told me to look it up, and I saw like it deceives, and I was just like, I'm not having this next to me. So I got rid of it. I still have pumpkins, ghosts, and Happy Halloween too, which I don't know if that's wrong. I don't think it would be, but yeah. So I instantly got rid of that. But I'm just trying to, say I'll probably still have decorations that aren't demonic, like saying hocus pocus, which is like a magician spell. But like I'll probably still hand out candy to kids, and I'm trying to actually understand what you're saying about the Samhain or whatever thing festival, and I get it. They probably did do that, and it probably was bad, but I don't know if it's if you do it now, if you're inviting spirits in, or if you're just giving candy to kids.
So, okay, imagine this, right?
Okay.
Imagine that the satanic cult, right? Let's say they make a triangle candy, okay, and you don't know that, but this candy is one of the best candies. Man, it's so good. But they use that candy to do a practice, and they practice worshiping Satan, the evil one, right? And you don't know this, but they sell that candy also. No, you don't even know it, because again, you're not educated on the truth, let's say. And so you're doing it during this time that they also sacrifice this candy, let's say, or let's say they invite demons, let's say, with this candy somehow. And they teach you, hey, guys, like, because the world might teach you that a tradition. Hey guys, it's a tradition that we give honor to the dead, because it could be like that. And then you with your own mind would think, okay, well, I want to honor my mom or dad or friend that passed, maybe. And so you get this candy or whatever, and then you just kind of hand it out to people, oh, whatever. But you don't realize that what they are doing is the exact same way. You might have a different intent, which, yes, it could be good, but you're still you're partaking in a practice that they have originated from. And if you don't educate yourself on what you're even doing, you're just blindly just doing a pagan practice. You see what I mean? Because a pagan practice would be something that's not a practice against. It's literally against God if you're doing something that is not for God, right? That's the best way to look at it. So, like, you're handing out candy for God. Think about that, right? Do you give candy to kids for God? No, you just do it for the tradition of Halloween.
I don't do it. No one does it for the tradition, though, really.
But that's what I'm saying. Well,
yeah, because no one really knows about the tradition.
So when they go out to buy candy, you don't think that they're buying it for Halloween?
A tradition, but they don't know about the Samhain.
Oh, yeah, the festival. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I wanted to talk about it with you and kind of go over this, because I don't think enough people know about that this festival is where all that came from. They tried to make it All Saints or All Hallows Eve and to All Saints Day or whatever, which is October 31st to November 1st. And that was even like, in a way, it's like a cover-up. It's like, hey, let's try to make it about Jesus, which it's a pagan practice. You shouldn't do it anyways, right? That's kind of where I'm coming from with that. But I did look up the verse. There's several of them. I cannot find the exact one. There is one that is close to it, but it says in Mark 7, chapter 8, it says, Jesus condemns the Pharisees. Oh, wait, sorry. That's not the Bible verse. That's literally what it is about. Okay, let me, oh gosh, I had this pulled up. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Mark chapter 7, verse 8 says, for laying aside the, I could read the full chapter. Let me see. Because I need the verse before it. Okay. It is Mark chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandment of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, they hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such things ye do. So the reason why that verse really struck me is because, which I think that actually was the verse after I read the verse before, because I was trying to find this section before. But so that, again, that doesn't talk, Halloween. But when I read that, I was like, this tradition that they did was a tradition made by men, that they did at the washing of the cups or whatever they were doing. And it was something that was against God, because it wasn't something God was commanded or told them to do. It was just against God, because they were trying to make it a tradition that was, it's like, well, we're worshiping something. If you're trying to make it a tradition, why is it a tradition? You're doing something. So Halloween in that same sense is, if it's not honoring God in the origin of it, you're still doing pagan practice, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know.
I know it's fine if you don't want. Yeah, it's good.
It's hard to like argue about something because I don't really know that much about the Samhain festival, and I don't know. Like obviously, you just said they invited spirits, but I'm just trying to like wrap my head around like nobody's really participating at Sam. Yeah, they like changed that to Halloween, and now that's how they celebrate it. But I feel like people nowadays, even Christians and believers of God, don't even like even if they heard you say that, they'd be like, okay, well, we're not inviting spirits into with candy.
Do you know the cakes they made back then? The cakes they made that were the treats, they were called soul cakes.
Okay, well then, like, bro, no,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but nobody's making cakes called
I know,
cakes.
but that's what's a very interesting thing about this festival.
That's
it's like
demonic.
whoa, and so yeah,
that's demonic, but
yeah. That's what they called the cake because
like
it was dedicated.
Like Skittles and M&Ms?
No. See, okay, so actually,
No.
that's another thing I actually researched. So I was like, well, why did it change to candy? What the heck's the point of that? That was just a marketing thing. They saw the opportunity of like, well, the people were just doing this as a pagan practice, and they capitalized on it. The industry did, and they just started selling candy because it was a sweet. All this was about the treats were about sweets. So of course, money's involved, and money's the root of all evil. So money had to get involved and then pervert it and more, and then just made it candy, right? Like when you think of October 31st, what do you think is the highest selling thing on the day before that and the day of? Probably candy. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But when you brought up soul cakes, and they maybe they did do what you said. Did you research? Did you see? They did say that. So, but like that's not. They're not calling the candy soul candy. It's just candy. And
imagine they did. That'd be crazy.
Oh yeah, then it obviously.
You'd be like, oh no way, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But think about what you just said though. Why does it have to be called soul candy?
It doesn't. I'm just saying that's what they call the cakes, and that's what invited spirits in. So.
Mm-hmm. I know, but think about this. Why do you have to have the word soul? Like.
You don't. I'm not saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah.
But. I don't know.
Okay, I don't want to linger on that topic too much.
All right.
So I have a lot more. So I went into each one. So that was just the candy one, the trick or treat.
Yeah, I don't know.
And by the way, again, anybody viewing or listening, if you don't believe me, just like I tell Levi all the time, go look it up. Go do some hour to 2 to maybe 5 hour research. Go down the rabbit hole, and you're going to go, what have I been celebrating? And then guess what? You're going to become a stronger Christian. Your faith is going to be grown even more. And I'm not saying like, oh, Levi's faith isn't good because he doesn't know. Levi's done a ton of research on this. I'm just touching one of the topics he maybe didn't find.
Not too much, but yeah, a little bit.
Because you already talked about the campfire, and I know I found that, so we can talk about that one, and we'll both probably talk about that. That'll be good.
Before we move on, I just want to say,
Woo!
I'm not telling. Brody's telling you guys never trick or treat again and have your kids trick or treat because it's.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to. Well, okay. For me, I will never encourage anybody to ever like if I have kids, which I am. A lot of what I believe in as a Christian. I'm a God-fearing man, and I'm not saying you're not because you
Everyone
aren't.
has their own interpretations.
Okay, this is what I mean. So like when I say I'm a God-fearing man, I am on this topic. I will never change my mind on this. After it's like when the truth is revealed. Levi's going to get to that point, and I'm not saying like he's going to agree with me, but he's going to get to a point where he's going to have certain things like when we're going to talk a podcast, and I might not be as educated when he hosts like a topic he wants to cover on the podcast. He's never like there might be a point he has found the research, he has found it, he has related it to the Bible, and God has given him that revelation. He won't change his mind. That's how the truth works, and you die on that, right? You are willing to die for that truth. This is one of the ones that I'm willing to die on. I will never have, if I have kids, which I hope to God blesses me with children and a beautiful wife. I will never teach them. We will not be celebrating Halloween. We'll go to pumpkin patches. We'll have some good fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Segue into pumpkin patches. Nothing wrong with pumpkin patches. Don't freak out about that. But bobbing for apples. Do you know what that is? You know, bobbing for apples when you like put your head into like a thing of water and you try to grab with your teeth.
Yeah.
That's a pagan practice.
That's insane.
It's actually a mirror. I think it's a what I write here down here. I think it's a. Where is it at? I don't want to say this wrong. Let me read what I said. Okay, so I put bobbing apples is for a pagan practice as well. This game has origins that go back to a practice they did during a courting ritual, which is like for marriage. Okay, and they did this during a courting ritual, which was part of a Roman festival called. Oh wait, Oh yeah, the same, a different festival. There was a pagan one that honored Pomona. Well, who's Pomona? I looked that up too. Pomona was known as the goddess of agriculture and abundance. Well, there's a false god right there. Well, frick. So now, bobbing for apples, every time you stick your head and try to grab an apple out of a little thing, guess what? You're partaking in pagan practice.
Jeez.
Right there. This is how when the veil's lifted, man, you're going to be like, what is going on? Everything I'm doing. Right? Now, this is just on Halloween. That's just a little topic, but what do you think about that one, Levi? Did you know about that on bobbing, where it originated from?
I had no clue. That's crazy, but I mean,
you haven't really bobbed for apples really that much. Maybe
Yeah,
you
I
had it
never
at like
did
a
that.
party maybe or something.
Yeah,
they don't really do it too much anymore, but just for, truth's sake, we want to get that out there so people when they look at it, they're like, I'm good. I don't want to partake in a goddess pagan practice.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to say that. People, they might look at you like you're a little bit crazy. They'd be like, what? This is that weird Christian.
Yeah, I know. I got one more time. I got to go back to the, trick-or-treating.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, you're
like,
on it.
That's like, it's going to hit a lot of people like.
Yeah, you think it probably will.
What is bro on, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying. If I, for me, I'll probably let my kids trick-or-treat because it's something they would probably like doing because every kid loves candy. But, I'm probably also going to hand out. I'm going to do more research before, I celebrate that with my family, obviously.
But you're saying as your thoughts right now.
Yeah, I just want to say, right now, I probably would still do it, hand out candy to my kids. So anybody watching, if you are actually concerned about if it is pagan and what Birdie said, which I believe what she said, I just don't. Everyone has different interpretations. So, I feel like I don't know if kids saying trick or treats and inviting spirits to come to them.
Yeah, so I don't want anybody, when I say this information, I don't want anybody, including you, I don't want anybody to think we all have to agree with Brody or we're screwed. Like,
no, I know everyone has their own interpretations. Yeah, but I'm just saying, as of right now, I'll probably, until I do more research, because I've not done enough about this candy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, because I was the one who picked the topic, so that makes sense. I gave you hey, here's what we're going to cover, and then you kind of looked into it a little bit, but you might not have, like I said, you might not have had everything.
So I just got to put that out there. I'm not sure about that yet. So
yeah, you're good, and that you know what? That shows you're a Christian. Yeah. The fact you say I'm not sure, and what you're probably going to do, which I know you'll do this, you're probably going to go research it. Like, that's what a Christian does. They say, there's stuff that you'll obviously immediately know because you're like, I know that's directly from the Bible, right? Those things are going to be easier to understand and agree with. But then stuff like this, where you're like, you have to try to relate it and see what the Bible's saying about it, like we're going to obviously keep talking about and go over with Scripture as well. That's something, if you are unsure, like we've said this in the first podcast, if you're not sure, don't force an answer. Say, I don't know. Yeah. Go do your research. Come back with a better testimony and a better answer. Yeah. So, like, for you, there is nothing wrong with you saying, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to still do that. I don't know if I'm still going to do the candy handout. Like, that is perfectly fine because everyone is probably feeling that. I mean, think about the people watching or listening right now. They're like, what did Brody just say? Like, this guy's a crazy guy. Yeah. He doesn't. No way. And guess what? That might be the seed of God planted in them, and they might go. Because here's what would be cool about this. If it bothers somebody, they might be so bothered they might go look it up and do some research, and then boom, which I feel bad for them because they're about to go down a deep rabbit hole that's going to take them a while to. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to be a cool rabbit hole because it's going to be educational from God's perspective of here's the truth, baby. Yeah. Okay, you ready for the next point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what else do you do during Halloween, other than candy,
parties?
Okay. Wait, hold on. Okay. Let me think.
I don't really do parties.
Candy, bobbing for apples. What's another thing you do just tradition-wise on Halloween?
Pumpkin patches, trailer.
You said something there at the beginning.
Trailer or hayriding or whatever it's called.
Okay, I won't make you keep guessing. Carving pumpkins.
Oh, okay.
Oh, where does a carving pumpkin origin come from? Guys, this is really important. Okay, Levi. For all of us here, I want to say something that I did not know about. I did not think the pumpkin thing would be bad. But then I saw a scary pumpkin face and I go, ooh, that's got to have something bad with evil. So, it originates in carving. It's not even jack-o'-lanterns. It actually originated in Ireland using turnips instead of pumpkins. Pumpkins came later, right? Obviously, they wanted it bigger, the more art you could do, but they originated on turnips. Now, here's the legend that stemmed this pagan tradition. It was based on a legend about, I think, Stingy Jack, who repetitively trapped the devil and would only let him go as long as the devil did not make him go to hell. But then he died and found out that heaven didn't want him either. So Jack wandered the earth for eternity. The devil gave him a lump of coal in a turnip to light his way when he was wandering the earth.
Yeah.
So that pagan practice began to convince people to carve scary faces into turnips, which led to pumpkins later, all in order to hopefully ward off evil spirits. So what do you think about that?
That sounds demonic as crap, but
Yeah, that's literally where that 100%. There's nothing. I tried to look up so much more on that, and that is the only thing.
yeah, all I read was they
Yeah.
carved it to ward off evil spirits.
But that is so pretty much. I mean, that's the main point. Is it was made to ward off evil spirits, but the actual history behind it is that legend of what led it to people actually carving them out.
So, again,
Yeah.
I'd probably say, like, is everybody that carves pumpkins doing it to ward off evil spirits? Do you think so?
Because again, this is what's very important about educating yourself, right? I feel like everybody should educate themselves on what they do. Like, and it reminds me. Have you read this section in Scripture in the Bible where it talks about, like I can't remember what it's called. It's like the not letting your left hand know what your right one's doing, or your right hand letting your left know what it's doing, right?
Yeah.
There's something in that section where it's kind of trippy of what like you have to do a lot of research on it, but it's talking about that stuff. Like, you basically are not supposed to be blind, right? You're not supposed to be just doing something, not knowing what you're doing. You should be fully informed on everything you're doing, why you're doing it, where it came from, like all the stuff you're doing. Like, for example, you don't just go to work, right? If you have a job, you don't just go to work and say, I'm just going to go with the flow. No, you have to know what you're doing. You have tasks. You can't just go to work, show up, and just do whatever. Even if you work fast food, let's say something simple. Fast food where you have to go and you just got to put the order in. Well, you still got to know what you're doing. You got to focus. You got to know what you're doing. You can't just shut your brain off. Everything you do has an action and a reaction. So you cannot just say, I'm just going to go celebrate Halloween. That's what we've always done. You got to, that's going to be something that will probably be brought up to you on Judgment Day. Like, well, you had time to look up what you were actually doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you carve a pumpkin with a cross on it?
I've actually seen that recently, this year.
So what would that do?
Here's the thing.
Wouldn't you want to ward off evil spirits?
I do think a cross and a pumpkin's great, but you do have to know where the carving of pumpkins even originated from. That's all I've tried to tell people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I get that. So
but you're still partaking in a pagan practice.
Yeah,
but it is good that you're
wouldn't
putting a cross in a pumpkin. That's good.
Wouldn't you want to ward off evil spirits?
Think about this. Ready? Watch this. This is why it's still pagan. I don't think you should even do that. If you think you have to put a cross in a pumpkin to ward off evil spirits, ready?
I knew you were gonna say this, bro.
You already knew. Wait. What do you think I'm gonna say? What do you think I'm gonna say?
Then you don't have faith in Jesus.
No. Okay, I'm glad I asked you what it was. Okay, so this is actually not what it was. There are ways to actually biblically seal doorways with oil, anoint them so no evil can come through. Like, those are biblical things Jesus teaches, right?
Yeah.
Do those instead. If you really want to ward off spirits.
Yeah, no, but it's just,
you see what I mean?
Yeah, but it's.
Yeah. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with like going and decorating for fall. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You go buy pumpkins and decorations in a house, decorate for fall with weeds. I think that's cool. Get a cool looking fall house outside, inside your house, however you want to decorate for fall. But let me ask you something. What do you think of skeletons and all this evil they put up decoration wise? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know if skeletons are demonic. Isn't that just?
I got you.
I knew you had it researched.
I had no. You're good. No, actually, no. So I don't want you to ask me a question. What do you actually think, though? It's not that like anything bad. Just
I think probably. I mean, I don't think. When I think of a skeleton, I probably just think of like a funny skeleton cartoon dude dancing. You know, like in Halloween movies. And whenever I think of ghosts, again, I think of ghosts. You know, dancing around, doing weird funky stuff, or they're like some shy, because that's what I always watched when I was younger. So that whenever I think about skeletons and ghosts, that's probably what I'd say I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're demonic without any research, obviously, but from without any research, I'd probably say they're fine. because of what.
Okay, what is it? Here's another question then. What do you think it presents? Like depicts? Like when you see all this decoration, does it depict life or does it depict death? So you think about that for a second. If something depicts death instead of life, why are we celebrating death? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sucks because, oh man, you don't even know. When I found this out, oh man, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I have all this information. Like, people are going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think I'm weird. And then there's this Holy Spirit that goes, well, you either believe it or you turn against me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much that's the only option.
Well, yeah, but again,
I'm not saying what I just said was like that. I'm saying way back then when I was looking
obviously.
up death and life. I'm like, well, I know death is bad in the sense of like celebrating it. So it's like, but then like obviously like, by the way, that's how I went into like movies and stuff like that, like horror movies and stuff. That's why I stopped watching those.
That's bad.
Because that's the reason why I did it back then.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good, but again, I also think handing out candy isn't really. I don't know. I have to research because like it was a festival like what, I don't know how many years ago, and nobody really celebrates it. And yeah, it changes in Halloween, but I just can't. I don't really think anybody that does that's trying to invite spirits into their house.
I agree. I don't think people are trying to invite them.
So if someone,
but I do know that they are still partaking in pagan practice unknowingly or unwillingly. So that's why it's called the tradition of men, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's a tough topic.
I know. That's why we talk about it. Podcast number 2. Who knew?
I got a question for you though.
Oh,
unless you have something.
Oh, I have more stuff, but yes, I love questions.
Okay, so I have, I told you this. I have a Worlds of Fun Gold Pass, and they have a haunt every year during Halloween. Okay. So I usually go with friends, and it's just literally Worlds of Fun, but it has roller coasters, everything, and then they also have a couple haunted houses. So would you say like, if I go to that and go with my friends, and celebrate that, would you say that's demonic? Even though I'm not going for, I'm going to the haunted houses obviously to get scared and stuff, but like that's not the only reason I go. I go with my friends and to ride roller coasters. So would you? What's your take on that?
Let me ask you a question. You said celebrating. What are you celebrating?
I'm not celebrating anything. I didn't say celebrating. When?
You said we go to celebrate it.
No, I said we go. It's a haunt. I go with my friend. If I said celebrate, I didn't mean it, but we just go, to have fun at the haunt, and it's just like a time during, I don't know. It's just everything's like foggy. There's like people that are running around you to scare you and stuff. So I don't go to celebrate. I'm not going to celebrate.
I see what you're saying, but let me ask you another question then. So, okay, think about this. I know you've read this many times in the Bible. So if we know in the Bible it says God does not give us a spirit of fear, and the theme of going to this haunt is fear itself, what do you think that's doing to your soul?
That's not the only reason I go though. I do it to.
Well, I know, but I mean, yeah, I get it. The thrill and the fun with friends. I think it's fine to make memories and stuff like that. But just always think of the theme of what you're going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And I know this is harder, probably to see, because I mean you're at a young age. You want to have fun, and I'm not saying you can't have fun, but it's like you just got to think about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Kind of like back to the topic I was talking about before. Everybody has to be careful of being in mind of what they're actually doing, and not just doing it just because it's been done for decades and decades and generation upon generation, traditions now,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I was going through haunted houses and I saw a freaking painting. It's obviously fake, but it was so demonic. I was like, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus. It
like something against Jesus?
It was like all these like freaking headless things, or not headless things. It was so bad. I don't remember what it was, but me and Drake, we went and we were just like, what is this? And then I rebuked it. There's like 4 things I did that to, but I don't know. I'm not like trying to observe everything when I go, but I guess I see your point. If I go and I walk into that haunted house and it has all these disgusting paintings and all this demonic stuff, then I'm kind of just walking into like a house of darkness, and I'm just, allowing, stuff to nothing messes with me because I'm, shielded by Jesus. But if you go into that stuff, and there's all these paintings of like all these demonic things, then I guess I am kind of, inviting that stuff in, not into my like soul and stuff, but like it's just there in front of me.
Because you're saying you're looking upon it, and the eyes are the gateway to the soul, as the Bible says. So it's like,
I don't really look at this stuff though. But when I did, I saw that. Like I usually just try to get away from all the people that scare you. But
I think it's more of the thing of, like if you think about it, I agree with you when you said you're shielded by Jesus and the Holy Spirit, right? I believe that, but again, you probably feel it in your soul that there's something off about it. You know what I mean? You're like, ooh, like that's the Holy Spirit in you. Like, oh, that's not holy. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't think that until I looked around and saw the pictures. Because usually I just walk in the house and then just walk out, leave. I just get scared a couple times by the people.
Doesn't that make the stuff you looked upon? Doesn't that make you think of like the veil the Bible talks about too? Like you looked up to actually see, like you were finally present in the moment, and you go, whoa, wait, what am I doing here in a way? You know what I mean? Like, well, you shouldn't be in this, even if it's not the whole place, but maybe it's just the haunted house. Maybe that's just the only spot. Maybe that haunted house just had wait, this is demonic. Like we should not be in this building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because think about it, in the real world, they have satanic buildings. Like they literally worship demons and Satan, and it's like you wouldn't want to be in that building, would you? So it's like the same thing. It's like it's an evil place wherever stuff like that is at, right? And again, there's spiritual activity there. If people do not think that's a real thing, there are. Like, for example, back on the Halloween topic, when people put up with these demonic evil things, celebrating death itself. Anybody can say, by the way, any person has free will to say, well, I'm not celebrating death. You can't say they are. It doesn't, just because they say they're not celebrating it. Like imagine somebody had they were like trying to burn a crucifix or whatever. And they're like, well, I'm not worshiping Satan. It doesn't matter if you're saying you're not, you're literally burning a cross. And like, you see what I mean? Yeah. Like, so it's like, you have to, just because you say something is not happening, doesn't mean it's happening. Just because you think it's not happening, doesn't mean it's happening. Like, you can't say, oh, well, for example, let's say somebody breaks a bone, okay? And they're screaming, like, bad. They're like, get me to the hospital. They just know it's pain. And you're like, you'll be fine. That one's a little different, because that is you just being unaware. If somebody says, I'm not participating, well, wait a second. You just aren't educated, but you're still, like, same thing with Halloween. You're still partaking in the pagan practice. Even if you don't think you are, you still are, but it's just you're uneducated on the topic. That's all it would be for the person who doesn't know. But now everybody that's watching is kind of learning some extra stuff.
So would you say it's demonic if I go to the haunt?
I would not say demonic. I would say it will harm probably either your faith or your spiritual path, because your spirit can get bothered by that stuff. And there's, like, for example, people aren't really meant to see people, like, let's say somebody got in a car accident, and let's say somebody next to them like saw somebody die. Their soul, because again, it's the Holy Spirit in them with love, it's gonna bother them, because that's something. Death is not a good thing. It's evil, whether it was an accident or not. So when you go and you see something that is like completely just disgusting, demonic, like you said, you saw a painting or whatever, that painting might be demonic, but like you saying, oh, is the entire event demonic? Well, not the entire event, but there's parts of it that will be, and it's something that you should think about. Well, should I even entertain evil? You know,
I don't think it would. It didn't really damage my spirit, because it's always shining for God. But I would agree with you with certain things in it were kind of messed up, and I was just like, obviously it was for the theme of Halloween, and that's where I go back to when people theme with Halloween. That's what they put up, and it's just like. Yeah. If they're gonna put that up for Halloween, then it's like that it's just a clear thing of how it's demonic. If people that's what they hang up for, haunted houses or whatever. So
just think of a haunted house. Like, where in there is God present? Obviously, everywhere there's a human being. I'm going to take that back, because he's in every single person. The Holy Spirit is there. But what I'm saying is, decoration wise, none of it, none. Like every decoration and theme of whatever they have in a haunted house, I don't think I've ever seen one that is, oh, that honors God. Never have I seen one. When I was younger, I'm talking about the ones I obviously don't go to them anymore, but But just always think, too, with haunted houses specifically on that, just think about the theme of that.
Yeah.
Decoration's evil. The theme is to scare people and give them fear, which is God does not give you the spirit of fear. So if God's not doing that and people are intentionally giving you fear and trying to make you scared or whatever, who is there? If God doesn't give you the spirit of fear, well, that's either a demon or the devil. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know it's very hard because a lot of people are like, they don't want to get that far to get to that point to think like that, but you have to as a Christian. Because we live in the world that is against God. And so every little thing we have to think about, you know?
Yeah, it's true. So if I go for, last thing, if I go for just, ride roller coasters and then walk through houses just to, get scared. I don't even get scared most of the time. Well, one time I actually did, and I don't look at anything and nothing, enters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, would you think that's bad, or if I'm just going for some roller coasters and the experience of.
So if you're just talking about like an experience or entertainment, I would say you can go and just not go to the things that are like a roller coaster. I mean, they're not going to be able to jump scare you on a roller coaster and try to invoke fear into you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can still have fun at that place, but you should be aware and definitely avoid the things that do not honor God and are intentionally trying to not turn you against God, but just kind of, and by the way, when I say like harm your soul, I'm not saying like, oh, your soul's chipping away and it's going to be weaker. But what it will do is it can hinder your faith because, again, like even just being scared. Like let's say you come home from one of those, like oh, the haunted house is really good and it really effed me up and it was really scary. You come home and now you kind of just have this weird eerie feeling when the lights are all off in the house. Well, why do you have that? Why is that eerie feeling? You feel like something's following you. Well, because your soul has been bothered by evil. God is still with you, absolutely, but there's still this awareness of like something. It's just kind of
Yeah.
And it's not that it's a spirit. Who knows even what it is? But you just feel uneasy, and that's kind of how you can tell your soul's being tampered with. And again, by the way, I don't want anybody to think this. Nobody has the right to do anything to your soul in the sense of like, oh, we can remove your soul from you. No, that's all God. God Himself owns that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think if you do go, think about the things kind of we talked about, and just like everybody else, if you guys go to parties or like haunts at theme parks or whatever, just avoid those things that do not at all in any situation support and honor God. And it's very easy to see. You'll know.
Yeah.
Now, here's another point. If you have to question something and you just really, it's a 50-50, you don't know if it does or not, do not do it. It's probably not honoring God. Even if it's a 50-50 and you're just really not sure, it's probably not honoring God. Because trust me, most people know, oh, that definitely probably is honoring God. He likes that, But I wanted to go to problems with celebrating Halloween itself as a Christian. I have 7 points.
Okay.
And some of these are pretty quick. But these are I'm going to back these 7 points up.
All right.
With the Bible. Actually, some of these, I think I have one for everyone besides one. Okay. Number 1, mixing pagan practices with the worship of God. You should never do that, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
And so exactly. So now we know what we've been going over with this festival or whatever. If it's a pagan practice, don't mix it with the worship of God. Well, there's All Saints Day, and then there's the festival, which is, Halloween, which people call Hallows Eve. But remember, those things are still both, I think, traditions of men, because one's about saints and one is about God knows what, evil spirits or whatever.
But say the saints one's about men.
I think it's a tradition of men. That one is a tradition of men, because you can look up when it's made. Like, it's literally within our history of a couple hundred years.
Yeah, but it also said that it was to bring all the followers of God in to have a feast or whatever.
So yes, if you're like something simple like that, if you're doing that, and I have to do more research, I guess, on that. But yeah, if it's just in the simple fact of just coming together for Christ, then that's fine. Have a great feast for Christians. But if it is in any way, wow, blah blah blah, this saint, that, ooh, be careful, because again, that you do not want to give any honor to anything other than God.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. Now here's where the Bible comes in, baby. You ready for the backed up Bible of why you should not, or you'd be very careful when you're celebrating Halloween. The Bible explicitly forbids these pagan practices.
Okay.
Halloween is one. Ready? let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10 through 12. 2 verses, baby. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these things, and because of these abominations, the Lord thy God does drive them out before thee.
I literally have that exact verse in my notes.
You have that? Read yours, because yours might be, mine was from the King James Version, but read yours.
You said
Deuteronomy chapter 18,
10 through 12.
10 through 12.
Yeah, it says, there shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or who, I think it's the same one.
No, I know, but yours is, I don't think it's the King James Version. Yours is probably easier to understand for people.
I think it's literally the exact same. I think it is King James on my phone.
Oh, yours
I got
is
it on
too?
Google, yeah. I didn't get it from my Bible.
Oh, you're good.
My Bible might be different. And also,
Yeah.
you probably have this in your thing, but looking on this, it kind of answers the Worlds of Fun thing.
Oh,
And
for
it
you?
says, yeah.
You got your answer for the Bible W? What is it?
Colossians 5:22 says, abstain from all appearance of evil. So, and that kind of goes for, I was going to bring it up for partying. Like if you go to a party and that there's stuff in the party room, like, hocus pocus or all these Halloween decorations, you might not know it, but it's probably evil, and it says abstain from all that. And then Worlds of Fun, when I went in the haunted house and I saw a picture of, I think there was a headless baby there too. It was like a,
what?
Yeah, it was.
That's.
I
Really
don't really look around, but when I do, it's just like, what is?
And that's exactly what they don't want you to do, is actually look around, because you're like, wait,
Yeah.
why am I here?
Yeah, so I mean that kind of answers.
Hey, that backs up the Bible verse that says when two or more are gathered together. It actually says in prayer, God is there.
True.
But I feel like this is a part of prayer, because we're talking about God, and He is here, and He just answered your own question. I didn't even answer it properly.
So I'll just go,
and He just said, "Here you go, Leave. I'm gonna just drop you some truth with the Bible."
Exactly.
Boom.
I'll just go and only ride roller coasters. I mean,
There you go. Go ride the rides.
that's
That is cool. During the podcast, God
freaking nuts,
answered your
man.
question.
It's
Dang.
nuts. But yeah, that's kind of a big one for Halloween.
That is
so.
awesome. That's good for everything. I mean, Halloween's just more obvious.
Yeah.
But okay, now what? This kind of good backup off of what you said. Wait, what was your verse? What was the one you said?
I knew you'd probably have it.
I might have had it.
Colossians 5:22.
Oh no, I don't have that one. Okay, I have something else. Okay, it's a great backup. Point number 3 of 7. Halloween is associated with darkness and death, which we were already talking about.
It says that.
No, this is the point I made.
Oh.
So, and I'm going to back it up with why this. So, Halloween itself is associated with darkness and death. That's what I wrote in my notes, and I'm going to back this up of why it is based on the Bible. So, this one, which again didn't have this looked up, but okay. So, this one is actually Ephesians 5. You might already have this one.
5:11. Take no part in unfaithful works of darkness, but instead expose them.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now during the podcast. Do not take any part in it, but expose them, baby. Woo! Hey, that's exactly what we're doing. And again, that's a hard thing for Christians to do. But once you get to that point, oh man, you expose that freaking evil for what it is.
That's true.
Right? And I'm not saying anybody that's partaking in it's evil. I'm saying the act of what it is evil. So when you partake in that, that's what you said, what you just had your answer.
Yeah.
You don't want to partake in any darkness or any evil. I mean, dang, I'm so glad you had that already pulled up.
Yes, I have my notes, but yeah, I do think Halloween is really, really evil. But I don't know. I don't know about the candy. I just keep going back to the candy because I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to prevent my kids from going and getting some candy and having fun. So I'll have to search that up. I'm not saying you're saying that, but
I'm not. But I'm so glad that it's kind of.
Yeah, I just freaking.
It's like the Holy Spirit's just sitting there next to you, and He's like, Levi, this is gonna bother you for quite some time.
Yeah, I just don't want everyone watching to be like, oh well, it's completely wrong to go trick or treating. Like I don't.
And we're not. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to bring up some information people might not know about.
Yeah.
And kind of say where I did find that I do believe it is wrong completely for what I said. But again, it is left up for interpretation of what I want people to actually go and look it up themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Just like you. I mean, if you're just unsure, I would love for people to go look it up, you know?
Yeah. That's probably what I'm going to do. So
Okay, the next one, number 4 of 7 of the problems that you have if you celebrate Halloween as a Christian. Faith versus fear. That's not a good thing. And Halloween thrives on fear. That's really all it's about. I mean, not the candy thing. The candy thing we already went over, though, but that's a separate thing. But the majority of like decoration stuff is all about fear. You don't really see like, oh, wow, look at that holy, godly Halloween decoration. You don't see that. If you do, that's awesome. But you don't really see that. The second part of faith versus fear, Christians should not fear. Right? And we were talking about this earlier, but I have this pulled up. 2 Timothy verse 1:7 states that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and self-discipline, which this version, I have no idea what that's from because that does not say it. Let me pull up. That's the NIV. Okay. Let me pull up the King James version. I just like the King James version. So 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It's still the same thing, but it just sounds way better with this because, okay. It says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So it's still the same thing, but it's a little bit more clear with that. The main point of this verse is he didn't give you the spirit of fear. And if you think of that first section of this one verse, okay, if God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind, well, wait a second. Okay, let's look at Halloween. Okay. 1, it's fear. So that's one red flag out of 4. Let's see. Okay, God gives us a spirit. He gives one of power. Well, you don't really go to Halloween and be like, wow, I feel powerful. No, you feel weak. You feel like you're running for your life. You feel scared because, again, fear is bad for you. Oh, okay, let's go to the next one. Love. Wow, you run into that. You run into that festival, those Halloween houses. Man, you're feeling a lot of love while something's trying to take you out. No, that's not love. You're running for your life again. Again, it goes back to fear. And one more, the best one, and a sound mind. Yeah, you just go into a haunted house and you're like, man, I'm so peaceful right now. Got a sound mind. I'm all peaceful. I'm all chill. No, you're like, what is happening? I feel uneasy. I don't know what's going to jump out. Is something going to jump out of the side? Is something going to scare me? Something going to come after me? It goes back to fear. So again, fear is not given to you. Like it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. What do you think of that, Levi?
I think that there's nothing really to say.
Spoke for itself?
Yeah, I kind of took points from it and answered it yourself. So I think that's really all needs to be said.
That's good. So we agree on the faith versus fear one.
Yeah, probably.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's good.
That is nice.
All right. Now, this one, I'm interested in what you think of this. Number 5.
All right.
Celebrating Halloween causes Christians to conform to the world willingly. Because if Halloween is of the world, I said that Halloween causes Christians to conform to the world willingly, celebrating it. They're conforming to it, and conforming means like they kind of just like giving themselves over. Now this is backed up. I did write a verse down about this. The world versus God. Let me pull this up. This is 1 John. 1 John chapter 2 verse 15. Okay. Now let me have your thoughts on this one, Levi. And I'm not saying you're going to say the Bible's wrong, but I want your thoughts on this verse versus what I was just saying. Okay. 1 John chapter 2 verse 15. Love not, and you might have heard this one before. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So think about it. Why do you want to go to it? Is it to please your own, like, hey, let's go have an experience. Let's go do this thing because it'll be fun. Most of the time when you hear the word fun, again, I'm not saying you can't have fun, but when you hear that, you got to be very careful.
Yeah.
It's like, because the word fun is like, that's a lot. That word is really associated with the worldly things, and like pleasures of it. And you still can have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I just know there's a very thin line between an actual biblical fun, you're having a good time, versus let's go have an experience that maybe is not like on the path to God.
So what do I think of that? What with Halloween?
With Halloween, yeah. Like an experience, like Halloween, going out trick or treating, going out. You don't think it's wrong, like, but it might be a tradition of men.
I think when you go trick or treating, I don't really think you're going to have fun of the worldly things. Like, obviously it's not for God, and if it's not for God, I don't know why you should do it. But some little kids when they don't know any better and they just love getting candy, I feel like they're not really doing it for the worldly things and just to be apart from Jesus. They're just going to have actual fun and to get some candy, and but no, I don't think, like, for little kids. I don't know really about adults. Like, if I don't really know adults that trick or treat except me, but I'm joking. But yeah, I don't think it's bad for little kids to go trick or treat. I just don't. I don't feel like it's a part of worldly thing. Obviously it is worldly things, but I don't think Jesus would frown upon that if little kids went trick or treating and he's like, "Oh, you're of the world." Okay,
let me ask you something then. Is there other ways that you could still have them have a good time without having to partake in a pagan practice? Like, I'm genuinely asking. It's like, I'm not. This is an actual genuine question. Like,
Halloween?
Is there something? No, just during Halloween. Let's say people are all going out. Is there something you could do? Like, if you were a parent, if you were a dad, let's say, because I'm curious about this too. I've thought about this. Is there something you could do to still allow them to still have fun in a different way, that still is not dishonorable? Like, or at least, again, I'm not saying that you think this, but like dishonorable to God. I believe Halloween is dishonorable to Him. Is there something else that?
Well, I believe it is too, but
yeah. Well, I just don't want to speak for you. I just didn't want to speak for you.
Yeah, no, I just don't think trick or treating is dishonorable, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't want to say Levi's thinks the same thing too. Yeah.
What was the question? You. Oh yeah, you said what would I do besides Halloween?
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like make up my own holiday on Halloween. I'd probably say they could go out and instead of saying trick or treat, say Jesus loves you and take candy. I mean, that's not even a bad idea. Like, if you just said you got to say this so you're not inviting spirits in,
So you're kind of masking the evil. You're like, we're not participating in this pagan practice. We're gonna do it the Christian way.
Yeah, so they can still have some fun. I think that's, I don't know, but again, I don't know if saying trick or treating.
Yeah, that's a start. That's good to instead of
And it'd be spreading the word, so not really spreading the word, but letting people.
Oh, imagine people just go with Bible verse instead of saying trick or treat. They're like, "Hey, John 3:16, for God so loved the world." They'd be like, "What the?" And then
yeah, that would be cool.
Maybe they just dump the whole candy into their thing after they say that. I don't know.
Or instead of handing out candy, little Bible verses. But again, I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's bad. Like, hanging out.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I don't want this to be a podcast where you're like, I feel like I'm pressured into being believed in something.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know. I don't know. I don't feel like if you're doing it for the tradition. I feel like if you're just doing it for some little kids, you just want to make their nights, then I don't know. And I'm not saying you're not doing that just because you believe a certain way. I just feel like for me, it's letting them have a fun little night and letting your kids of your own have a fun night and get some candy, because every kid loves candy. So,
but couldn't you just go buy them some candy at the store?
Yeah, but that defeats the purpose of going out in their little costumes. No, the costume. They want to dress up.
The costume.
Yes.
To dress up.
What? It's not bad.
We didn't go over that, did we?
No.
Good thing I had it in my notes.
Let's hear it, boy.
Okay, first we got to start with Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11.
Okay.
This leads into it's so funny you said that. Okay, so it talks about avoiding the unfruitful works of darkness. Okay, that it's kind of basically what I mean. Here's the thing. Let me actually just read the verse. But okay, so Ephesians 5:11 says this. Okay, Ephesians. Okay, this is the King James version again. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Oh my gosh, that goes off of what you just said. So reprove is like a nice way to correct somebody.
Yeah.
So in a way, like if we're talking about Halloween too, I mean, this could be applied to anything, obviously, but you could even like apply that to Halloween. Like if someone's like, no, we're going to do it this way, you'd be like, that's against God. Or like, you don't have to say it that way, but like you do it in a nice way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, I had to bring that up first because it's about costumes. So, do you believe when you dress up, when you're like, "Ooh, I want to dress up as Elsa from Frozen or whatever," are you doing that? Is that idolizing something.
No,
Why?
because you don't put it on saying I'm putting this above God. That's an idol when you put something above God.
But aren't you covering up the creation that he made you as, which is more beautiful than anything?
I wouldn't say so.
Because you're the image of the invisible God, and what's a way to dishonor God? Well, the devil, or you have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm not idolizing it, why, if I'm dressing up of what they say, you just put on a costume? Well, why are you covering up the creation of God? If God says you are the image of God, it's perfect example. If we know we're our body's the temple of God, why would you cover up the temple? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think it's covering up the temple. Like
putting on a dress.
Yeah,
that's not you. You're putting on some either fictional character or a real person, action.
So when
movie,
you
whatever.
dress up, when you wake up and put some clothes on, you're covering yourself.
No, because that's you. But when you dress specifically as another person that is not yourself, because that's the whole point of Halloween. You don't ever dress. Why would you dress yourself? Nobody just goes out as themselves. Maybe people do. That'd be funny. But the majority of people, like probably 99% of people, are going out as somebody else. That's not you. That's not who God created.
I just don't think it's idolizing, because when you're idolizing someone, when you idolize someone, it's putting them above Jesus. And dressing as somebody that's weird. Not
somebody
for Halloween.
Else,
Not for Halloween though. Like, that's just a costume. Yeah. But if you're doing it like on a daily, and you're like, oh, I just want to be like this person, or you change yourself to try to be more like them and do things that they do, that's idolizing, and you put them above God, and God isn't even in like the, book. He's not even like near your in your life, and you're just constantly, or maybe he is, but you're still putting this person over him. That's idolizing. And I feel like if you dress up as Elsa on Halloween, I don't think that's
poor Elsa, man. That's just the person we're taking out tonight.
I don't think that's really idolizing. Like, you're just you're dressing up as a Disney character, man. And So I don't think that's.
Does Elsa worship God? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Okay, but I want to go before we wrap it up here. I want to go over the history. Okay. This is very quick about the history of where this came from. I looked it up and I found it. Okay. They were the Celts. Okay, it's CELT. These people. Okay, the Celts. The Celts believed that the barrier. This is still during Halloween. This is why they dress up.
Yeah.
That the barrier between worlds was breachable during Samhain, whatever the festival is called, Samhain. They prepared offerings that were left outside villages, fields, for fairies, lingering spirits, and Sids, SIDHS, right? Whatever. It was expected that ancestors might cross over during this time as well, and the Celts would dress as animals and monsters so that the fairies were not tempted to kidnap them. That's where it came from.
Costumes?
That's why they dressed up.
Again, but like
as animals, monsters, anything that was not themselves, so that they would confuse the fairies or whatever, so they wouldn't kidnap them. How do you tell me that's not pagan?
What, kids dressing up? You think that's pagan?
Just anything else? Because I'm just saying that no, the tradition of what they were doing back then. Was that pagan?
Back then?
Yeah.
I mean,
the practice of pagan that they were doing.
Dressing up to hide from fairies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that I don't think it's pagan to dress up nowadays. It's the same thing
What's
with tattoos.
the difference, though? See, how does it change now?
It's the same thing with tattoos. They did it for false gods, and you say, well, it's still in the Bible, but nobody does it now for false gods.
Okay, so let me ask you something. So when it says they dressed up as animals and monsters, so let's say an animal, a wolf, that's a common one, a werewolf. If they dress up as a wolf or a werewolf back then, what's the difference back then between now? If somebody dresses as a werewolf,
because nobody's doing it to hide from fairies; they're just doing it to have fun.
But they're still partaking in a practice that they're unaware of. And again, I'm not saying like, oh, if you do this, you're going to go to hell or nothing. But you have to be aware that you're inviting something into your life that is not from God. If you're taking part, because it's idol worship of false gods. It's a pagan practice. Anything pagan is a false god. I mean,
exactly. So
exactly.
When you do tattoos when they did tattoos, they marked the skins for false gods. And again, a lot of Christians are like you and me. We're divided on it, saying like, well, they did it for false gods, and now they don't do it anymore for false gods. It's like nobody does that. But in Halloween, it's like, no kids are dressing up in costumes to worship false gods or hide from fairies. Nobody's doing that. They're just going out to
I know, but I just want you to think about, the next time you think about Halloween,
okay,
just think about, is this honoring God? Actually, this will be our ending. Here we go.
Okay.
Is this honoring God? Okay. With what you do with Halloween. My point takeaway from this podcast that I want everybody to think about. Is this honoring God with what I'm doing? If you're celebrating Halloween, is it on Halloween or anything in life? Is this honoring God? If it is not, what is it honoring? And 3, if it's not honoring God and you find that out, what can I do to switch the point in my life of action-wise, what I'm doing, in order to switch it, in order to honor God with what I do with this thing?
Yeah. I'd probably say the ending I have is, if you're unsure about something, take some time and like dive into the Bible, because that's where I'm trying to get my information from. Dive into the Bible and try to figure out, or Google and like the original traditions and figure out, like Brody said, if it's not from God, or if God didn't, Halloween isn't in the Bible, but you take verses and you interpret it, like the one at Colossians, what is it? Hold on. Colossians 5:22, abstain from all appearance of evil. That's corresponding with Halloween. But I'd probably just say, right now, I might change my mind, but right now I'd probably say you can celebrate it, but be careful the way you celebrate it with, decorations. I don't know about the trick-or-treating yet, but decorations and all those things, and the things you see in the places you go, like haunted houses. Brody changed my mind about those. I probably won't go in any of those, but just be careful the way you celebrate it and where your kids go and all these things, because it is pretty evil. But I think if you want to take your kids trick-or-treating and let them have some fun, you can do that. Just be careful where you take them and what they do. So, and all related back to God, and do your research, because I got to do research after this to actually trick-or-treating. I don't know about that yet, but we'll see.
All right, podcast 2, we did it.
Yes, sir.
Dang. Hey, hopefully you guys learned something at the end through this listening or watching process. We all learned together. I'm learning from Levi. He's learned from me. We'll learn from you guys. Comment anything you liked or disliked. Let us know if you enjoyed it. But we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Podcast number 3.
Yep.
Next weekend.
God bless you all. God bless you all.
Yeah. See you later, guys. God bless.